If you look around today, people sort of maybe ask, what happened to the Puritans, right? Now, back in the day, the Puritans, they would, their interpretation of the Bible, they would go to, let's say, a Catholic church and throw down a statue or burn a painting. Or they would go on witch hunts, right, for people who were not pious enough. Now, Protestantism, started really by Luther, was a protest against the Catholic Church because it wasn't strict enough. It wasn't Christian enough. It wasn't hard enough. And if you look today at progressivism, we can see the parallels. The Puritans haven't disappeared at all. They're still right here today. Today, they tear down the Confederate flag. They burn the American flag. They tear down statues of old white men who they deem to be morally reprehensible, right? Because those men no longer live up to the modern-day Bible. The modern-day Bible is the U.S. Constitution. So the Puritans, their moral, their unquestioned faith in their moral dogma was founded in the Bible. Now it's founded in the U.S. Constitution. Okay? So now, of course, if you go increasingly, if your two ideals, freedom and equality, become increasingly abstract and harsh, then there's going to be more and more people who don't live up to them. Okay? And so you become iconoclasts, destroying more and more of your own culture in the pursuit of abstract idealism. So if you look forward and if you push forward far enough, you'll see that what we call ISIS today in the Middle East is simply several centuries ahead of modern-day progressivism. Okay? So modern-day progressivism is behind its ultimate end. It's an annihilating system of piety towards an ideal. Now, this is what makes it human beings interesting, because my view is that every race has their own form of religion. It's kind of its ideals, and the gods of every race don't change. It's just the context of which they of which they live in changes, right? So what we call freedom and equality today, before would have been called, let's say, grace and predestination, right? And good works. That's sort of the devolution of nature and nurture, right? And you can work backwards and find antecedents of modern day idealism. So I think that each culture has an aristocratic, consequential view of life, and then there is this kind of ethical, timeless view of life, right? So the Indians, the aristocratic thinking is under the Brahmins, and they have a consequential view of life called karma, of which we don't fully understand, but that's their sort of version of dynamics. It's the action-reaction, right? If I do this, this will happen. Now, Buddhism is ethical. It wants to evade consequences. Its goal is non-existence. It's a nihilistic system. In the West, we have socialism as our version of ethics or progressivism today. And you can see many similarities between socialism and Chinese Confucianism, right? They both teach a version of piety towards ideals, and It's very politically correct. Now, the Chinese version of aristocratic thinking is Taoism. So they have yin yang, right? It's an action reaction, a sense of the dynamics of life. Whereas ethics wants to evade time and dynamics and looks to, it's very utilitarian, correct? Okay. Just thought I'd clarify a little bit. I think I probably should make maybe a written speech or something just to make it very clear what I think. I hope this benefits some of you guys, all right? Thanks. Give me some feedback.